Hey everyone, my name is Christy, and today we'll be going over problem number 3 from the fall 2022 midterm. So in this question, we want to fill in the blanks to complete the environment diagram, and all of the code that we'll be referencing is here, and then this is the environment diagram. So basically for these kinds of problems, we're essentially going to be running like through all the code that they give us. So a good thing to first do, we can like first skim the questions, but basically you'll be like having to go through the environment diagram yourself. So the first thing we do for environment diagrams is that we see that there's a function here, and this corresponds to it being in the global frame, which is what we see right here. And then we also have two other variables called feel and oo, and those are also there. So let me erase this. In the first in feel, it's assigned to a lambda function called beat, which does beat or beat divided by 0. And then we see that right here. And then now let's look at oo. So oo is a call to Dancing Queen with the parameters feel 17 and the string tambourine, and another call to 17. So when we look at Dancing Queen, the feel 17 corresponds to Friday night. And in order to get the value of feel 17, we first need to compute that, right? And feel 17 is called by using that variable above. So 17 is passed into beat. And then it's basically 17 or 17 divided by 0. So as we can see, beat, oops, I forgot to write it above, but beat is equal to 17. And this lambda function returns whether, like, it returns a true value, right? And since 17 is a truthy value, it would return 17. And that's the return value of that lambda function. Now moving on, we see that we pass in the, so we pass in 17 and tambourine into Dancing Queen. And then to make things easier, I'm just going to write the values that we end up finding for each of the different variables like A, B, C, etc. Okay, so we skip question part B, and then in part C, we want to find what is the parent frame of the Dancing Queen function. So Dancing Queen, like as we saw before, it's in the global frame, and this doesn't change even after we call this. So it will still be the global frame. Okay, in part D, we want to find what is the value of lights upon returning from the F2 frame. So the F2 frame, as we can see, it's a call to Dancing Queen, which is right here. And let's walk through this part. So Friday night, course is like, it's like this part of the function. So we already know that's 17. That matches up right here. And then we see that the instrument is tambourine. And then let's see what lights is. So let's look through the function. I'm going to erase this to make things a little bit clearer. So if it's not Friday night, return sad. So what's Friday night? So we know Friday night is 17, and 17 is a truthy value. So we don't enter this. So we don't go through this case. So light is set to 0. And then this is a mistake that a lot of students make, but don't stop at this part because there's still like the rest of this function to go through, right? So lights is still it's 0 right now, but it might not be the final value for lights after running through the entire function. So we know list is equal to an empty list, and then there's a while loop that says while Friday night and lights are less than 3, then go through all the stuff within that conditional. So Friday night is currently set to 17, right? And light is 0, which is less than 3. So both statements in the condition are true. So we go inside the while loop. So the first if statement says if light mod 2 is equal to 1. So light is equal to 0. So 0 mod 2, that's not equal to 1. So we don't go to this statement. So we move on to the else. So the else says list.append instrument 1. So we want to append instrument 1. So what is instrument 1? So instrument corresponds to tambourine, right? And within like strings, we can assign, or we're not assigning, there's like certain index values. So it would start at 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a little bit scrunched down there. But we want to append instrument 1, which corresponds to this A right here. So list is now equal to the character A within that list. And then lights plus equals 1. So let me move this to the side. Lights plus equal 1. So now lights is equal to 1. And then let's look at this. We have to look back at the condition statement in the while loop. So Friday night is still 17, so it's still a truthy value. And lights is equal to 1, which is also less than 3. So we keep going through the while loop. So let's check the first statement. Is lights 1, so 1 mod 2 equal to 1. So in this case, yes. And this is, as a reminder, mod division is like it returns like the remainder of when you do like division. So for example, like 9 mod 2, we can just do like 9 divided by 2, that's 4, right? And then it would return 1. So since this statement here is true, we want to append instrument at index 3 times 2. So let's look over here again at our string. And then we want to see at index 3, which is right here, so the B. And then it says times 2. And then initially it might seem like confusing, like how do you multiply like a character times 2? But in Python, this is literally just duplicating it however many times it is. So since we're times 2, we would be appending like B, B. So let's change our list. Let's not change, update our list. And now we're going to be appending B, B. Okay, and then we have to do lights plus equals 1. So now lights is assigned to 2. And then let's check our while loop condition again to see whether we enter it again. So Friday night is still 17, and lights is equal to 2, and 2 is less than 3, so we keep going through the while loop. So now let's do lights mod 2. And lights is equal to 2 mod 2. And 2 divided by 2 is like, it divides cleanly, so it would equal to 0. And that's not true, so we go to the else statement. And list, we do list.append instrument 1. And we already know what instrument 1 is. It's the A, right? So we do that. Update list. And then lights plus equals 1 again. So lights is now updated to 3. And then let's check our condition again. So Friday night is still 17, but lights is now equal to 3, and 3 is not less than 3, so we exit our while loop. And then we return lambda chance lights plus chance plus 68. But if we look back at our question, we just want to see what the value of lights is upon returning from the F2 frame. So we already know, like, as we can see right here, oops, not the eraser, lights is equal to 3. So we end up returning 3. So let me update that right here. Oops, I forgot to update below. So this is global. Well, that looks like a 6. Global. And then this is 3. Okay, let's move on to part E of this question. So what is the return value of the F2 frame? So let's look at our F2 frame. And the F2 frame corresponds to when we call the dancing queen function, right? And then in this function, we see it returns lambda chance lights plus chance plus 68. And this is a lambda function. So, okay, so there's two options that we see that correspond to lambda. However, let's look at the line that is on. So line 12. So it would be this option. Okay, let's move on to part F. So what is the parent frame of the lambda function F3? So in F3, wait, let me update that. Okay. So in F3, you can kind of see by the context clues, it says chance, right? So that obviously corresponds to right here. And since this lambda function is inside dancing queen, the parent function would be whatever frame dancing queen is in. So since dancing queen corresponds to f2, that's the parent function for this lambda function. Okay, last part G. What is the value of oo in the global frame when the environment diagram is complete? So basically, they want us to find the value of oo when after like we call all of this, right? So as we see below, there's this value right here, 17, and this corresponds to what would the 17 is what corresponds to chance right here. Since we can see like this corresponds to here, this one corresponds to there, but then where does the 17 go? So the 17 actually goes to this lambda function here. So when we do return lambda chance, and then chance is equal to 17, you want to return lights plus chance plus 68. And we know lights from here, above right here, it's 3, right? And then chance is 17. And then we add 68. So let's just do that. So that's 20 plus 68, and that's equal to 88. So you will return 88. Hopefully that helped. Good luck.